I'm going to be co-presenting. So I'm Mike Welch, Director of Facilities here at the College of Lake County. And David Husemoller, our Sustainability Manager, will also be speaking, and Kelly Cartwright, who's biology faculty, but she's also the chair of the Sustainability Council as well, too. So just to give you an update, back in 2012, we started our Sustainable Master Plan. One thing that I don't think anybody realized was all the awards that we'd start to receive as we started to implement some of these projects. The highlights of 2018, we were ranked #1 in Illinois across community colleges and #6 in the US. And we think we're just scratching the surface with our sustainability right now. To add on to that, in 2019, we added the LEED Platinum building, our science building. And we're currently in the works on another LEED Platinum building down at Waukegan as well, too. We will be receiving another award in July from APA. They will be having a sustainability award in Denver, Colorado that we'll be accepting. So the awards continue to come in. One thing I'm always asked during all these award ceremonies is, are you starting to see the benefits of sustainability? And at the time, I was a little bit uncomfortable. I said, we don't have enough data to kind of show some of this stuff. So over the last year, we've started to put some data together, and we can start to see how sustainability is starting to pay off for us. So what we did is we took a capture 2 different months. We took a summer month and a winter month, and then we took it from 2014, so kind of pre-construction, and then 2018, which is kind of our yearly follow-up. So if you look at our electricity costs in July of 2014, which is that first bar, our electricity costs were about $147,000 for the month. You look at that same month in July of 2018, you see a savings of about $7,000. So it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of savings with our electrical costs. But one thing to point out, and you'll see later, is we also added about 250,000 square feet of space and still lowering our energy costs. The other thing I'd like to point out too is sometimes graphs can be deceiving, you know, if you have a mild winter or a extremely hot summer. So what we did is we compared, you can see the average degree days down below. These timeframes in 2014 and 2018 are almost identical. So the weather patterns are completely the same. You see that in that green pattern as well. So fast forward to our winter months, we wanted to take a look at January of 2015. You can see our costs there, as opposed to January 2019, which is the last bar. We were able to reduce our electrical costs by about $25,000, and that's specifically just on this Grace Lake campus. But even better, the story goes, is with our gas, our utilities for our gas account. So if we take a look at the same thing, same months, again, knowing that the weather patterns are identical from year to year. July of 2014, we were able to reduce our gas usage by about 1/3. So we went from $24,000 to about $8,000 a month. Fast forward to our winter months, we're typically gas heavy, where we use a lot of our gas appliances and things. 2015 to 2019, we were able to cut it by 1/5. And that's partly because of our geothermal system that we have. So when people ask now, is the sustainability system really paying off? We can absolutely say yes, it's paying off for sure. So David will kind of talk about, actually I've got one more slide. So we put all this stuff together. We take a look at kind of the square footages. The first bar there in blue in 2013, we had about 1 million square feet of area. Our operating budget was about $9.77 million for that year. If we fast forward to 2019, so 6 years later, we have about $1.25 million worth of square feet that we've added, and our operating budget is now $9.7 million. So we're actually less operating with more square footage than we were 6 years ago. So that's the story we want to tell people, and that's partly why David's here.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening. So we heard a little bit about the economic benefits of sustainability and why it's important that we upgrade and update our campus facilities. But when we look at sustainability, we think about the triple bottom line, we think about the economic benefits, the social benefits, and the environmental. And then also, I think in the world of community colleges, we look at the campus and the community, and then our curriculum, another sets of intersecting 3 C's of sustainability in a community college. And so these really innovative campus facilities that we're talking about that are super efficient, state-of-the-art, are opportunities for us not only to save some money, but also provide demonstrations for the community. And so that businesses coming here for conferences can learn about these efficient systems, and demonstrations for how bioswales work, or how we can clean our stormwater with parking lots. Those sorts of things are educational opportunities for the community to learn some of these best practices. But not just for the community, more importantly, it's for our students. And our students are seeing these best practices in place and functioning, and being able to learn from them. And so sustainability on campus supports the curriculum, supports our students, and I'd like to think that it inspires our students to pursue learning and careers. And so to really make it more understandable and teachable and learnable, we've developed the Living Lab Trail, which we will be dedicating in September as part of the 50th anniversary. And we'll have a special ceremony right before the board meeting on the 24th. And again, you can see this is kind of our map of the Living Lab Trail with all the different types of stops along the way. We will have interpretive signs that connect not only sustainable features on campus, but opportunities for wellness, and connect those to opportunities for students or community members to take those practices home and do more in the community. Also connecting them with opportunities just to learn from other cultures around the world, that these sorts of things are being done around the world and that we can learn from them. And so there's this connection beyond the campus to the community and to the outside world. But also to teaching opportunities here on campus. So students, if you want to learn about natural systems, you can take classes here. And so the signage will help connect these features, natural features, technology features, or wellness features to opportunities in the curriculum. And one of those opportunities is, of course, our LEED Platinum Science and Engineering Building. And I just want to throw up and give you all a handout about this. We have been hosting a number of high schools coming through because they've heard about CLC being a really strong innovator, having the greenest building of new construction in the state of Illinois, and this is the place to go to find it and learn about it, and also build what you can do to build on your career. So that handout there is something that we give to our students, our visitors coming in for a tour. So this is a recently developed handout, but I want to make sure you had a copy of that. It connects it to our Living Lab Trail. And then and something new, newer than the Living Lab Trail, may be something that we discussed later on during 8.1, biddable items with solar photovoltaics. And the opportunity to put solar PV on the Grace Lake and Lakeshore campuses would be a tremendous demonstration of sustainability and connecting it to education and really profitable careers. And I won't go into any of the details there, but if you have questions later on, we'd be happy to help you out. Okay, so I'm Kelly Cartwright's going to step in now and talk about the curriculum.
All right. So, keep standing. I would like to ask, so you guys have hopefully heard about sustainability multiple times at college. So hopefully you've heard like there's the 3 E's or the 3 P's. So can anybody give me those 3 E's or 3 P's?
Energy.
Environment.
Okay, environment is 1.
All right, come on, guys. Ecology.
College.
Economics.
Economics.
All right, hold on, we just had it, guys. Come on. Ecology, economics, environment, economics, and...
Einstein.
Yes!
Social equity.
Sorry, people. Oh,
Yes,
there's an S in
people.
that
Wait a
one.
minute,
People.
it's
Yes.
a P, that's
So
a
it's
Tricked us.
Sit down.
and it's ecological economics, right? So part of what I do with sustainability across the curriculum is try to first educate all the faculty and the staff on what does sustainability actually mean, right? Most of the faculty at CLC, because we've done amazing things in terms of our buildings, we're doing amazing things in terms of our landscape, that's what they know. right? Sustainability is much, much broader than that, right? So again, think of it as an umbrella that it holds, here's your social justice, here's the people, here's the planet, and here's the profit, right? With that comes trade-offs. So that's something else that faculty learn how to introduce into their classes related to sustainability, right? It's not like this perfect, shiny, happy picture, right? There's going to be trade-offs if we're sustainable, right? Part of our energy savings now is that we had the trade-off of putting in the money earlier, and now we're gonna recoup those savings, but that's trade-off, right? So when I work with the sustainability across the curriculum program is I do formal training that used to be a year-long training, looking at what is sustainability, what's systems thinking, what's resilience, how can people tie all these different concepts to whatever curriculum they're teaching, right? Sustainability is based in systems thinking, so you start to look at relationships. That means that any curriculum can talk about sustainability, once people really understand what sustainability means, right? Especially the social justice aspect, especially looking at how the economics can tie into different environmental issues, right? So in addition to kind of the formal, more intense training, I do book discussions, I do journal discussions, I send out email blasts with, hey, it's World Water Day, do you take water for granted? How many people on the planet don't have water? How many women have to walk to get water instead of getting education? And then you see, here's all those connections that come from that, right?
We need to get rid of these.
I agree. Yep. It'd be lovely to see, because you already have glasses, so whoever's done the glasses, that's great, but now let's get rid of the plastic bottles. So with this, what you can see from sustainability is that students, when sustainability is a focus in a class or even touched upon, they're more interested, right? Their retention level increases, right? We're also creating learners who go into businesses in the future and understand systems thinking. So we're training students to be more adaptable in their careers when they go into the future, right? So there's lots and lots and lots of wonderful things that we get from including sustainability in the curriculum. And I went to training a few weeks ago before the foot thing, so I can actually walk around during the training. But I'm going to change the training so that it's going to be more of a retreat training and intensive next May. So hopefully we'll get a number of people who participate in that, because the model has been used at a number of other colleges and universities with wonderful success. Any questions while I'm up here? Okay.
Oh, this is just an example, okay. Well, anyway, this is just a quick quote from one of our instructors who's involved with the first year of AQUIP, studying sustainability in the curriculum. And it just shows that communications class demonstrated really increased student interest, creativity, critical thinking, and involvement, investment in the students. So by bringing in real life examples and teaching that it's a complex world of multiple causes and effects, thinking about things in ecological systems, that's kind of like what we call it, and what we think of with sustainability in the curriculum. And so anyways, if you have any questions.
I have a question. So if you have a solar panel on a roof and there's a problem with the roof, you have to remove the solar panel to fix the roof?
Possibly.
Okay. Is there
Well, before you put solar panels on the roof, it's really important, I think you might want to comment on that, we're going to be upgrading all of our roofs to have new roofs, or have roofs that are new enough before you put solar panels on them, so that they would be installed in a way that would not negatively impact the roof membrane.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is anything where we're getting solar panels, we would have new roofs installed on there as well too. Typically what we do, there'll be a few penetrations where there's a structure, and those solar panels will sit on a structure that's above the roof actually itself. So if a solar panel goes bad, you'd have to take that one off and you could replace it right back on there. So they don't physically sit on the roof themselves.
The ballasted system, right? It's a rated ballasted system, so it doesn't go through the roof, yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for Kelly. So how many different types of courses did some sustainability training in?
So they attached a sheet in your guys' board packet with some different numbers. We've now had representation from most of the different divisions. So, and then the people who have taken it, like some of the people, they'll take the sustainability across the curriculum training, and then they'll put it into 3 or 5 courses. So one person needs more than one course. So it's moving in, but I'm hoping when I change the logistics around, like, I would like to scale up and have a few more faculty participating each year.
So these green, blue, and gray barcodes are, the green ones mean that, that 9, let's say in the first category, there were 9.
And this is from David.
Okay, yeah, so this is actually from our first year equip before doing a baseline assessment of currently, or before Kelly's intervention with providing additional support, instruction, and resources for faculty members. This is a baseline assessment of what our faculty are doing to look at the triple bottom line and as it relates to curricula. And you'll see that over half of the classes have some form of the triple bottom line involved in education. And what you have here in this chart with that small print is looking at not only the environment, is that something taught or mentioned in a class, or is it a focus in the class? But does that intersect with the environment and the economy? Or does the economy intersect with social justice and social equity? And those ways that sustainability, we drew up some examples of ways that sustainability might intersect that triple bottom line. And you'll see the green is where it's a substantial focus of the class, and the blue is where it is a component of the class.
And the gray is where the class.
The gray is not
doing it at all.
covered, but it's there for reference, so you can kind of see that you know, while I would say less than half have said none, but you know, when we look at it, we'll see that if we're talking about energy resources or climate change or evaluating different economic systems, or we're talking about diversity and inclusion, those are all part of sustainability. That's part of what makes our society sustainable. And so by educating our students about what can make our society more sustainable in the future and what their role can be in that society, these classes are touching on to that. And there are, you know, from Kelly's comments, you can see that there are more opportunities to broaden that understanding that how the triple bottom line intersects with so much of what we do in terms of critical thinking and what we teach in courses.
Good question, Mike. Like I saw the savings and all, did I miss the payback numbers?
Paybacks were not in here.
That's what I'd like to see.
So for example, if we take a look at lighting, this was a study that we just did, and it's not included in this presentation, but the recent one we did was the library. So over the summer of last year, we converted all of our fluorescent lights all to LEDs. That payback period was about 6 years. That was just for the payback itself, but we also got a lot of incentives from the state, which even reduced that ROI to even less. Now the geothermal system, we're evaluating. When we originally designed the system, that ROI was a little bit longer. Typically what we hear is it's about a 30-year payback. It's a little bit more of an expensive program.
Yeah, it was 20 plus.
Yeah.
So,
But we're gonna evaluate it and see.
yeah, and that's a really good number. All the numbers are good, but that's really a key number.
Yeah.
What is the return on our investment?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm gonna hand it off to Ken Gosh, who's gonna walk you through the periodic report.
Thank you. Unfortunately, our auditors were not able to make the meeting today, and I know how much we enjoy going through their 40 pages of communications, so I'll just hit the highlights. And essentially what's important about the start of the audit is, you know, as was mentioned earlier with the GFOA award, our board and our college has followed best practices forever, and one of the best practices at the beginning of an audit cycle for the auditors to come to the board and check in with the auditors and with the board members and the trustees and find out if there's any issues of concern. I know they'll be reaching out to several of you as a part of their cycle. They'll also be asking the board to sign an engagement letter at the end of the meeting. So those preliminary steps will all be underway. Their presentation also will talk about scope and audit risks and things like that, so you'll get a chance to read through it. But I think the real bottom line is we're off and running, and I know there'll be some new areas of focus this year. Connie, if I'm not mistaken, will be the business income piece will be a new area. And also I know our technology officer, Greg Kozak, had also asked the auditors to take a look at computer security risks as a part of their work this year, give us another set of eyes on it. So we're at the beginning of a process. They'll be coming back to the board in September to present their findings, and then based on communication then they'll make the report final. So we're at the beginning of the process. A lot of hard work is underway, and I know they'll be reaching out to you. And if you do need to check with them independently, they've left their contact information for you at the end of the presentation. You're certainly welcome to call them and ask them any questions you may have as well. But any questions on what you saw in the document? Or I know it's pretty much what we see every year, and I know unfortunately they couldn't be here to walk you through it in a slow and deliberate way as they've known to do.
I have one question, Ken. Have we always looked at grants in that program?
Yes.
Or we have, okay. I
Yes,
thought we did.
there's 4 parts that are deliverable. They look at the basic financial statements. They also do some required state audits that are based on grants, and then they also do the federal grant audits as well too. So they cover that.
Because we've been doing that all along, but now they're starting to say that that should be part of it, but I,
Yeah, we do.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Ken, and thank you to the chair. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much.